Welcome back everyone. Hi, if you're new, I'm Tori, and today I want to share with you some of my most anticipated adult science fiction and fantasy 2023 releases. I have 9 books to share with you and I hope you enjoy this video, so let's get into it. First one, and probably, well, I was going to say the one that I'm most excited for, but I'm excited for all of them, but this one right here. The first one is The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan, and this is book 2 in the Empire of the Wolf trilogy series. I'm not sure how many books this is going to be, but Tyranny of Faith is coming up, and it's coming up fast. So this is book 2 in the Empire of the Wolf series. So the first book was The Justice of Kings, and I think at this point you guys might be really sick of me talking about The Justice of Kings, but I'm telling you, it is one of the best fantasy books, just one of the best books. Forget fantasy, it's one of the best books I read in 2022. The Justice of Kings really is incredible, you guys. I loved everything about it. I really cannot find a bad thing about that book. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I love the way the story was told. I love the exploration of these really complex themes of religion and law and justice, and just seeing our main character really struggle with that. Von Vault, the main character, but also the clerk who's telling the story, just see through her eyes how Von Vault is struggling with those things and these changes happening throughout the empire. It is really just an excellent story. If you still have not read The Justice of Kings, highly, highly recommend. So The Tyranny of Faith, this is going to be book 2. And I just am so excited to see where the series is going to go. I think with the way things left off at the end of book 1 and just what lies ahead for our main characters, where they're headed, and just this battle of faith and justice and law. I cannot wait to see what Richard Swan is going to do with that in book 2, how things are going to expand, how maybe allegiances might change. I think it's going to be really epic. And I think if I love The Tyranny of Faith as much, if not more, than The Justice of Kings, this could become one of my all-time favorite series. It really is that great. The next book is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, and I'm not going in order with the releases. I'm talking about them, you know, in whatever order. So the next is Hellbent, and this is going to be book 2 in the Alex Stern trilogy or series by Leigh Bardugo. I talk about Ninth House a lot as well. Ninth House is one of my favorite books ever, and it's so good. It is so dark. It was such a strong departure, I think, from Leigh Bardugo's young adult books, which I also enjoyed. Like, I love Six of Crows. Had a good time making my way through the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but Ninth House just really came out of the gate swinging. It is this dark, really, really dark urban fantasy story, and I fell in love with it. It has been a long time coming for book 2. I feel like I've just been patiently waiting for this release. It's with the way Ninth House left off. Hellbent is going to be a wild, wild ride. I don't even, well, I mean, I know what needs to happen, but just how are we going to go about that? How are we going to get there? I can't wait. I'm just personally so excited for this release. I think this is the one that comes out in January, so it's coming up fast, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this. Ninth House is a phenomenal read, and I think this follow-up has the potential to be just as great as Ninth House is. So Hellbent is definitely on the radar. Cannot wait to pick that up. I will be getting it day 1. Next, let's talk about another one that I'm really, really excited for, and that is The Blood Gift by Annie Davenport, and this is the second and final book in the Blood Gift duology. I read The Blood Trials earlier this year, and I really enjoyed this. I just thought it was such a good blend of sci-fi fantasy. It was a strong debut, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. As we started getting into the end of The Blood Trials, it started to get a little more political. We started seeing how different parts of the world had different allegiances, and I think that's going to be explored a little bit more in book 2, and I feel like the world is really going to open up, and we're just going to see all the ramifications of things that happened in the first book. So I cannot wait for that. I think we're going to see an even stronger blend of the fantasy elements in book 2 than we did in the first one, which our main character, Ikenna, she has a lot of things that she was hiding about herself in book 1 that slowly started coming out over the course of the story, and just the stakes are really high. Allegiances have been formed in the first book, and I want to see how those relationships and friendships continue on in book 2. So I cannot wait to get my hands on The Blood Gift. It's going to be really good. And then next, you guys know this has to be in my top 5. Next is Lightbringer by Pierce Brown, and this is book 6 in the Red Rising. saga, but it is book 3 in the second series. So I have this a little bit lower on the list, like not at number 1 or 2, simply because I haven't started the second trilogy yet. So the second trilogy begins with Iron Gold, and then we have Dark Age, and then Lightbringer is going to come out, I think, in the summer next year. I wrapped up the OG Red Rising trilogy earlier this year. All-time favorite trilogy. So I still have to get into the Iron Gold trilogy, but I'm really looking forward to diving into that and just seeing all the changes. I just cannot wait to get into that. So Lightbringer is not as high up just because I haven't officially started with Iron Gold and Red Dark Age, but nonetheless, it's in the Red Rising saga. I'm excited for it because Red Rising is so good. So I can't speak to the things that have happened in Iron Gold and Dark Age leading into Lightbringer, but I don't even care. I don't care. It's going to be amazing. Lightbringer is on my calendar and I need this to release as soon as possible. If you guys still have been sleeping on Red Rising, I know this series is popular, but if you've still been kind of holding off like, oh, maybe it's just not for me, just give it a try. Even if you're not a big fan of book 1, which I actually wasn't when I first read it, keep pushing. Go into Golden Sun, and if you still don't like it after Golden Sun, well, we might have some problems. But if you love Golden Sun, Red Rising might become one of your favorite series. So read Golden Sun and see what happens, but I highly, highly recommend you get into the Red Rising trilogy. It's one of the best. And then next we have the Terraformers by Annalee Newitz. And now we're starting to get into some books that I actually have some arcs for. So a big thank you to NetGalley and these publishers for the e-arcs of these books. I think before I get into the Terraformers, I actually want to read Autonomous by Annalee Newitz first. That's been on my shelf for a while and I just have never picked that up yet. So I do want to get into that just to see what I think of their writing style before, you know, getting into something a little newer. But Terraformers, just based on the description, this sounds like it's going to be perfect for fans of Becky Chambers, Martha Wells, and Kim Stanley Robinson. That seems like a very interesting mix of writers, so it does sound like it's going to be a good read just based on that. First of all, I'm looking at the description right now. This cover is gorgeous. I will be buying a physical copy of this. In this, we have our main character who works for a company that is devoted to preventing environmental collapse. But she lands on this new planet that they are supposed to terraform and, you know, make it this Earth-like planet. And in doing so, she actually finds this city that is not supposed to exist. And we just go from there. So this sounds like it's going to be a good read. And this actually comes out at the end of January. So a little bit earlier than the other ones on this list. But yeah, this sounds good, but I do want to get into Autonomous first. I don't know. We'll see. I keep saying I want to read Autonomous first, but because this does come out so soon, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. And then next on the list, this is one that just sounds so good. It's called The Scourge Between Stars, and this is by Ness Brown. And this is described as a tense and claustrophobic sci-fi horror. I got into a little bit more sci-fi horror this year by reading Dead Silence, and honestly, I think I'm hooked. I have an arc for The Scourge Between Stars, and when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds like it's going to be a good read. So this is set on a doomed generation ship, and we have a captain who is, it sounds like she's trying to get the people on her ship who are the last people of the human race. It sounds like she's trying to get these people back to Earth after they have left this failed colony. And so in that transition though, they're facing a lot of problems on the ship. People are on the brink of starvation, growing restless, and just on top of all of that, it sounds like something really sinister is about to start picking off people on the ship. So this sounds so good. I cannot wait to get into this. And then the next book I'm really looking forward to next year is called Infinity Gate, and this is by M.R. Carey. Even though M.R. Carey has written post-apocalyptic, you know, with The Girl with All the Gifts, and I haven't finished the Book of Coley, but it seems like that blurs the line of like dystopian sci-fi. So he has dystopian sci-fi post-apocalyptic books, but Infinity Gate sounds like just straight up hard SF. So I cannot wait to get into this and see what is going on here. So in this, we have this political trading alliance that's called Pandemonium, and it consists of all of these like millions of worlds, and actually all of the worlds are Earth. So they're like Earth in parallel universes. And then the description mentions that this AI threat emerges and just really threatens to wipe out Pandemonium and the entire trading alliance between all these different dimensions and these Earth planets. And it sounds like the people in charge are going to eradicate this threat no matter the cost. Human life human life be damned, we're gonna get rid of this threat. So this sounds like it's gonna be good. Something a little different from M.R. Carey, which I'm looking forward to getting into. So can't wait to read this, and this is definitely on my radar for next year. And then the next book I'm looking forward to next year is another one that I have an arc for. This is one I have a physical arc for though, which is really exciting. So thank you so much to Penguin Random House for this. This is Lone Women by Victor LaValle, and this sounds so good, and it sounds like it is gonna be another amazing, creepy character study from Victor LaValle in a way that only he can do. So we are following our main character Adelaide, and she is carrying around this trunk with her, and the trunk never opens because when she does open it, people tend to disappear. So it sounds like she's on the run, and this secret killed her parents. This just sounds really dark already. And so she is dragging this steam trunk around with her wherever she goes. And the description says, dragging the trunk with her at every stop, she will become one of the, quote, lone women, taking advantage of the government's offer of free land for those who can tame it, except that Adelaide isn't alone. And then it goes on to say that this secret that she's carrying with her might be the only thing to basically keep her alive, help her survive in this really harsh territory. This sounds like it is going to be amazing. Again, thank you so much to Penguin. I'm becoming a big fan of Victor LaValle, especially after The Changeling, which I read last year, so I cannot wait to get into this. And this is out on March 21st of 2023. And then the last sci-fi book that I'm really looking forward to next year is Wild Massive by Scotto Moore. And this sounds like it is a lot going on in this book. It takes place in this building that is just made up of all these different floors, but each floor is almost like a different world. One floor could be this like killer rainforest, another floor could be this desert oasis, and then another floor could just be a completely different world. And so in this we have our main character Clarissa, who we're following, and she is just in love with her floor. And it sounds like everything is going to change though when this shapeshifter comes out of nowhere and is intent on stopping this plot to basically destroy hundreds of floors, hundreds of worlds. This just sounds like it is going to be weird and trippy almost. So I want to see what's going on with this. I do have an e-arc of this as well, so I do want to get into this before the release date and get my thoughts out to you guys. This comes out on, oh, it comes out almost on my birthday. This comes out on February 7th, and this is from tor.com. So that is it for me, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I know there's going to be a ton of books coming out next year, and I'm going to anticipate more and more as the year goes on, but these are the ones that I'm aware of right now that are just like, yes, like give me these books right now. So I cannot wait to read these. Let me know down in the comment section which books you're looking forward to the most next year, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.